Hello everyone, my name is Julian Arango and I will going to give you a brief introduction into the Databricks Sandbox account, an environment provided to HatchWorks for learning and growing together.
Today, we are going to log in into our sandbox environment. First of all, let's get into the databricks.com website and hit the login button. We will continue using our corporate email. After all, if you have created more than one account with Databricks, you will be prompted to hit the account you are going to choose. If the HatchWorks account, sandbox account is the only one available to you, please click that one. And here you are. Sometimes you will be prompted for a two-factor authentication code. That code will be in your inbox folder. Please note that it may come to your spam folder, so please mark those emails as not spam. An important resource is the Databricks Partner Academy site. Here we could learn and practice for free using the partnership between Databricks and HatchWorks. We log in using our company email, and usually we're prompted to add two-factor authentication code. Once we are logged in, this is the main page which we will see. We have the role-based learning paths for data engineers, data analysts, Gen AI engineers, and the other roles available within the Databricks ecosystem. We could explore almost all the courses within this path without no cost. And an alternative to the sandbox account are the partner labs. Let's access the site. Here we have the partner labs available for us. Some of them are paid, but most of them are free. Let's look into the generative AI. As you can see, we have a couple of free labs here. The special about these labs, I will show you an example, is that they come with step-by-step learning, and they also provide a virtual environment when we can run the solution and the related task. I have already taken the lesson, but here in the step of the first lesson, we have our virtual environment. As you can see, it has a markdown format with the contents of the laboratory, and here we are accessing a temporal environment. As you can see here, we have an enabled space within Databricks. This is a temporal space, and we are using a Databricks provided lab user via the Vocarium platform. Here we have all the contents of the course and the related notebooks. It is important to know that in this workspace, we have everything already set up from data available for the learning to security configurations and notebook configuration as well. All of those are provided by Jupyter Notebooks. Access to the lab is free. However, they usually have a timeout tied to the session. Since those are intended to be executed in short periods of time. Once you finish, if you want to move some of this content to your Sandbox account, you can download the notebooks from your workspace. You will find it under your user. Click here, download as DVC archive, and then when you have that file, you can easily upload it into your Sandbox account under your user. Let's have a quick walkthrough to the workspace and the tools we have available on it. There is the workspace menu when we have access to our notebooks. There is both a user space and a shared space, and we also have access to a repository in the HatchWorks GitHub account called Databricks Materials when we have one folder per certification path. We also have the Catalog Explorer when we have our default catalog called Sandbox, and the main suggestion is to add a schema here when you are working on some notebook. We have the workflow section. We have the compute when we have a default cluster created called main cluster. This is the main cluster where we should execute our notebooks. We have a SQL editor which should run in a SQL warehouse. Serverless data warehouse was created for every one of us to run the queries. We have our dashboard sections. We have Jenny, a space to create charts and analysis using Gen AI. Then we have our data engineering tools, such as data ingestion jobs, and Delta Live table pipelines. Then we have some machine learning tools available as well, as a playground, the experiment sections, the models, and the service. For those, we usually have to create a different compute type cluster powered by machine learning instances. Let's have a quick overview of the data catalog. Data catalogs are powered by Unity Catalog, and they are enabled on all Databricks workspace by default. We have a main catalog called Sandbox, and we encourage our fellow hatchers to create their resources within a schema in the Sandbox catalog. There is also a possibility to create a catalog as well, but we do not recommend it because it could cause some collisions or permission issues from the AWS perspective. One of the main directives is to have one catalog per and split it in different buckets on AWS. Uh, we highly encourage not to use the high metastore catalog, even if it's available is not considered a best practice. And in case one of the data we need to create should be available for other system or external system, we could also create a view on the data share space. Let's have a quick overview of the GenAI capabilities of Databricks. Here, I create an empty Python notebook, and let's analyze a table using pure generated code. We should toggle the GenAI assistant and start typing some prompt. After we ask for a generation, then some code is suggested, and we can accept it or delete it. Let's accept it and run it. In case of a failure, GenAI even suggests us what the possible fix is. For instance, if we misspell the name of the table, he automatically detects the output and say that the suggested fix is just to rename the table to sales. Let's rename it and run it. Here we are. Another capability of GenAI is its ability to describe data. So let's dig into the sandbox data. And the table we use query. We don't have a description, so let's ask GenAI to generate one, and here is it. A table that contains sales data grouped by date, customer, and product. That's correct. Another good capability, we could use GenAI in the SQL query editor to perform SQL analysis based on the data we have, and we also can build dashboards upon that data. Let's create a new dashboard. Let's choose the data, and let's select the table we just used. Here we are telling Jenny that this is the data we have available. Now let's see the magic. In the canvas, let's add a new value, a new visualization. Okay, so we can generate our custom prompts trying to port a specific type of perhaps, or just even Jenny suggest some of the common visualization, like the total sales amount. This is a good one. And here we have it. But let's be more specific. Note that is actually auto-completing auto-completing when I type. I can accept it, but and here's a more visually representative chart of all the products available on the table. Let's accept it. And we can continue using filters using textbook or even modifying the existing visualization using Jenny. Let's take a look at how integrate Databricks with AWS. The Sandbox account is running over an AWS HatchWorks Sandbox account, which we have access when we try to log in into the available accounts. So let's log in. After we sync in, we will be prompted to choose the account where we are going to log in, and we will use the HatchBox account. Let's log in into S3. There is a bucket that is already configured. You can look it as HatchWorks Databricks main bucket. So main bucket. And these are the default locations. So we have access to these external data locations, and this is the Unity catalog data. We don't touch the Unity catalog data, but instead we use the external data. As we can see, we suggest to create one folder per project or per POC, and inside that folder, log the data we need into the Databricks environment. That data is accessible via an external location configured in the Unity catalog, so no additional configuration is required. If we go back to a notebook, let's create a new empty notebook. Let's say, and we have the DB utils library just helping us for that. Accept. This is a simple way to test if we have access to the data. And as you can see, we have the objects available here. We can also find the same path by looking into external location and the location tied to that path. We have one specific location for the external data folder, and we can browse the data from here. If we don't see the data in here, is that we don't have access. And we can create a data from here as well, but it will be an external table. And we don't suggest the creation of external tables. Instead, import the table into the Unity catalog as a managed table. Last but not least, we have the account web page. In this account, all the workspaces, catalogs, and users are handled, and the permissions are granted for each one of the users. If there is a connection issue or if there is some misconfiguration, it could be handled from here by the Databricks platform administrator. Usually only administrators have this kind of access, and they are responsible for the budgets and the maintenance of the platform. So if you need some additional permissions, you could request them from them. And that concludes our quick overview of the platform. Please enjoy your learning.